Hey, welcome back everyone. In the previous video we learned how to make this chart. Now I'm going to map out my three primary colors of red, yellow, and blue. I'm going to leave 3 spaces in between each primary color, and that's going to ensure that we have the right setup. So for this inner circle here, I'm going to try to make these colors as opaque as possible, which means I don't want to use a lot of water. And make sure that you're giving your brush a good cleaning in between colors, because you don't want to contaminate your paints with the previous color that was on your brush. And if you need to, you can go over these sections, a few times. The next step is going to be creating the secondary colors, which will go in between the primaries, right in the middle. And we're going to do that by mixing the 2 primary colors together to get the secondary colors. We're going to start off with a clean brush, as always. And I'm going to grab some yellow, and I'm just going to mix it in this little section here of my watercolor palette. If you don't have a watercolor palette, I'm going to highly recommend you get one. It's really going to speed things up for you and make things a lot more efficient. So I'm drying off my brush in between colors, and I'm also giving it a good cleaning. I'm mixing in some blue with my yellow, and you notice how the blue is really overpowering the yellow. So what I'm going to have to do next is I'm going to have to add in some more yellow just to sort of balance out that green, because right now it's looking a little bit too blue. So give your brush a good rinse, and let's mix in some of that yellow to try to bring that green back to a middle ground between the blue and the yellow. That's looking pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and paint that right in between the blue and the yellow. On to the next secondary color. I'm going to go ahead and mix in some red and some blue. And we'll see where that gets us. And finally, I'm going to create the last secondary color by mixing yellow and red. Notice the red overpowers the yellow immediately, so I'm going to go ahead and have to balance that out with more yellow. And that looks like a pretty good middle ground there with the orange. Now we're going to create the tertiary colors. We're going to create the tertiary colors by mixing in the neighboring primary and secondary colors. So I'm going to grab a little bit of red here and mix it in with that yellow. Going to need a little bit more yellow to lighten that one up. And that looks like a good orange yellow to me, so I'm going to go ahead and paint that in. Feel free to mix in a little bit more paint if you feel like it's too close to the neighbor. And we're on to yellow-green. So make sure you give your brush a good rinse before you go into the next color. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to that yellow-green and see where that gets me. So I'm taking a little bit of a shortcut there. I'm not making green again. And now I have blue-green. So you have to carefully use your eye to determine the mix of colors, because it's not always going to be a 50-50 mix that gets you where you want to be. And lastly, we have red-orange. Thank you guys for sticking around. I hope you learned a lot in this tutorial. And in the next segment, we're going to move on to creating a tint of each color.